Have you ever thought about it when someone comes into a lot of money or a college athlete goes professional and they sign their first contract to make a lot of money, one of the first things they change is location. They move out. They move to a different neighborhood. They buy their mom a new house. You ever wonder why that is? I think about it sometimes when it comes to traveling because how much your environment matters. You get a raise at work. Maybe you have kids that go to public school. All of a sudden you move them from public school to private school. You put them in a new environment. You put them maybe in a study group. You put them in different areas. You drop them off in a different part of town. I always wonder, what is the reason of that? And as I'm here in Korea, so many things have come to my mind. Here in Seoul, South Korea, my little morning walk area, I really like this area. I wonder about it. And why is that geography change? I really believe because the environment has such an impact on what becomes effortless. You know, they say you can't out-train a bad diet, for example. You can't out-train a bad diet. You can try, but you can't out-train a bad diet. Why is that? And when I think about that, I'm like, because the environment that your body's in when you're doing the thing, the environment that your body is in while you're doing the thing, while you're working out, you've created a very bad environment for your body. So yes, you will see differences, and yes, you will get some results, but not the best results if your body was in a better environment, which in that case, when it comes to eating, is having just healthy body on the inside. And I think about it from someone who loves to travel, or maybe someone who loves to read, or someone who loves to just escape, someone who likes to change up their scenery every now and then. A place like here in Seoul fits that perfectly. I cannot think of a place that I've been that fits the mold better than here. Whether it's the aesthetics of the backgrounds that look like you're in a movie scene, whether it's the safety of everything, they leave their tables out, notebook, pen, you see chairs that are left out, bikes that are here, shops like this that are open 24 hours a day, convenient food, meaning if you're hungry, you really just go into a GS25 store, you go into a CU store, you go into a 7-Eleven, where you're able to get food like this to eat. Little rice that comes in squares. Look at this. I think one of the things, and for those of y'all interested, I might have some calls available below. But the one thing that I'm telling people all the time, and the one thing I'm telling people, especially you all on the calls, is we got to get it so you can change your geography. What does that mean? We got to get into a place where you can change where you are. Some of you, that's all that you need. Some of y'all are doing everything else. You're doing everything else but the changing of the geography. You're doing all the gyms, you're doing all the classes, you're doing all this stuff, but you're forgetting to change the location. The things that spark the neurons in your mind as you're walking down a street like this and you're looking at things you haven't maybe seen before, and it makes you wonder, it makes you start to question things like, what is this thing? Look at this. What is this? As many of you don't know, that's someone's wallet that they left here. There's a phone left on here. All the people walk around with these little things on their chain. At the same time, all this serves, I think milk is in there. They bring little things of milk, and those things are driving all around town here. And you just stop them and they sell you a little thing of milk, no bigger than an external battery, And yeah, I think this is what more people really need. Really, just a place to breathe. And on that note, with me saying that, I've noticed in myself, I'm going to show you guys because people don't believe me. So this measures my heart rate, my watch, okay? And where you see it flat like that, it tells me over the last 4 hours. But I've realized since I've been here, when I'm sleeping at night, my heart rate goes down to 48 to 46. Which is rare for me. I'm more of a 52, 56. I've said this before. But 48 sustained the whole night. And I wonder, does it have to do with the environment? I wonder if you put me in a Bangladesh Delhi, put me in a place, downtown Melbourne, places that I like, I'd love to see. I used to live in Melbourne. Put me in New York City. I wonder if it's still like that. Because of the environment that it is. Meaning that there's a lot of people. Meaning there's a lot of people. Meaning there's a lot of people, lots going on. You gotta be, your alert is so high, you know? I wonder if that makes a difference. Where here, it's very simple. Simple to get simple things. With that, I need to get a... Hello? I need to get a water for today. How easy it is to get things here. You want breakfast? All the noodles on this side and the other. These little sushi roll things. And those are rice. That simple to get. That easy. Yogurt, drinks, anything. All right here. Effortless to get.
Okay.
Yeah. Kamsahamnida. Like the simplicity to get things. And yes, in this culture, it might be easier to go into zombie mode, but at the same time, you can be so alert when you're not worried about someone's gonna rob you or that something's gonna happen. Or you're gonna find trash everywhere, even me. I find myself just carrying trash with me. Because you don't put the trash on the ground ever. You actually don't even really put it, you actually really don't even put the trash in your, in trash bins. And I think at the end of the day, maybe what some of y'all need is a change of environment. You know, because I had just came from the States where I spent, or a few months ago, I was in the States for a few months. Long as I had been in the States since 2009. Long as I'd been there, I think it was 4.5 months I was there. And I actually worked like a proper job, like proper 9-to-5 job, like clock in, clock out. I've never done that before, like in my adult life. Never had to clock into a place and clock out and wonder about, look at the people just leave their stuff there, no worries. I've never experienced that before. So it was actually really cool, and it was so interesting to see how we can just be so conformed to things and just be like, well, there's easy money, so I'm gonna do it. Despite the happiness, despite the environment. And you know, I just was just like, if some of those people just change their environment before their environment changed them, I wonder what they'd be capable of. Because I was talking with my friends, I was like, you're more stronger than you imagine. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, you can stay doing this. I'm like, you've been doing this for how long? And they've been here for 4 or 5 years. I'm like, if you can do this for this long, you can do, like, if you can work this hard, 10, 12 hours overnight, I'm like, imagine doing something that you actually love, what you'd be capable of. You know? And I think that's where we get kind of like misconstrued of thinking that we're weak and we're not strong enough to leave. Where I'd argue that most of us are so strong that we actually end up staying because of how strong we are. Something as simple as an environment where you can go into a cafe and have the option to choose a bunch of different cafes to go to. This one, where you have so many options, couches to sit, to read, and this is just one of maybe 20 cafes within 4 minutes walking up here. The environment. And to kind of, well, for the creative person, the person who likes to kind of see new things and explore, what that change in geography does is kind of refreshes your mind. It resets your mind. You know, being in the same place is nice, but when you're in a new place, you know, I'm just finishing at a cafe, doing a lot of the heavy lifting of the things that people don't see, the behind the scenes, and being able to just leave there, have a little bit of a walk around, see something new. Of course, these are the places you have to know when you're here in South Korea. These CUs, you can go there and get anything you need. If you literally live next to one, you could just go there for the rest of your life and get food. But be able to go walk around in a new culture, a new place, sparks those new things in your mind, even more so than, I think, changing the channel or scrolling. And you find that you're replacing those things that kind of you feel like drain you. But like, for example, social media, how do you feel after you're done scrolling? Tell me one post you remember reading yesterday, you know? And where you compare that to maybe walking around, what's one thing you saw today that shocked you? One thing you saw that surprised you? And I think it's like little things like that for me that really, yeah, the geography. Sometimes I feel like that's, hello. I feel like that's one thing that is a hack that no one talks about. Some of you all feel so alone where you are. Like I would say I can't imagine how that feels, but I can imagine how that might feel. Like you feel alone. Like the way you see the world, the way you do things, it's very different than everybody else. Your vision's different from everybody else. And one of the things I hear is people like, I don't want to come to a new place or a new city, Luke, because I don't know anyone and I'm going to feel alone. But weigh that against being where you are and you know people, but yet you still feel alone. You need to like find your place, you know what I mean? Speaking of, place find. but seriously, like if you're gonna feel like you're doing it on your own in a place where you feel like you should be supported, it's kind of like hard to maybe understand that, so to speak. I don't want to use the word accept, but you could be in a place where, yes, you'd be on your own for a little bit, but eventually you meet your people. It might take a while. It might not be the person you meet walking down the streets here, you know. It might not be, but it might be the person you see at the convenience store every single day that you get invited to go somewhere with, or you do something with, and then all of a sudden you're invited into their world and their friends, and before you know it, you build this expanding thing based off of they already know you see the world different and have courage because you're here, and you start to inspire them and influence them, and now you stay in this atmosphere, and it gets to be like this snowball effect that's just rolling and rolling. And I think that's what so many people doubt. But none of that happens sometimes when you're in the same geography, and especially if you're in the same geography, being around people who don't really see things the same as you. And I have so many conversations with people, you all would not believe it. The amount of conversations that I have with people who just at the end of the day, like their interpretation of it is, you know, well, people just don't get me, you know, I'll just figure it out. But really it's just like I'm alone in my thinking and what I'm doing, and they're almost like inspiring me to stay the same because they're fine with staying the same. And when you're around an environment of people who just want to stay the same, and you're from there and you can see yourself in them a little bit, it's like yeah, not disheartening, but why not go to a new place where you're around a whole new culture, a whole new different kind of people? Like, you know, I know it might sound crazy, some of y'all listening to this, but I mean, I'm telling you, it's one of the best things that I did. And I think it's one of the best ways to spark so many things. Like, if I think of it, just two things off the bat, is all number one, an exposure to new people, new cultures, makes you think of things different. Like being in a place like here where I learn to take my shoes off when I go into every single place. Like little things like that, yes. But it also raises, for some of you guys, raises your income and status, because you take maybe an income or savings that you have and you go to somewhere else and you get all that, all those benefits. just from traveling to a new place. And I wish more people understood that. It's like something that yeah. Maybe I'll make a video about it. But if you're not gonna have any money, why not be here and have no money? Doesn't it seem like kind of like a better, maybe, well, for me at least, like a little better option maybe, you know? Instead of doing it the way someone else says and it's still not working out. So, yeah, just a thought. Just a thought. And it's raining, so today's video ends here. It was a successful day. You know, and for many people, the kind of like objective I always hear is like, but Luke, I can't afford that. Like, it costs too much. And it's just like, can you afford the life you have now? And have you thought of like what it's costing you right now? Like something that simple. Think about what is it costing you right now just to stay where you are, in a place where you feel like you should be okay, right? You were born there, you were raised there, you've been living there for a long time. You got your career, you got your raise, but still doesn't feel right. It still doesn't feel right. But what does it say about you to stay in that situation? And the thing I like to think is maybe you just haven't become the person yet who can leave. Because once you become the person, it's a no-brainer. The benefit, just money, gonna be kind of miserable and not feeling great just for money? Really? Money's for memories, to create memories. This is how I look at it. Maybe if you try to look at it that way, it might spark something in your mind a little bit. But so many electronic stores. And believe it or not, the prices of things, believe it or not, are not like a lot cheaper like everyone thinks about here in Korea. I thought everything would be like super like inexpensive. Not the case. And you know, when it comes to like seeing different things and, you know, firing off those new neurons in your mind, you realize like traveling and being in a new place, it fires off neurons where you didn't even know. You don't even have to almost work hard to get those neurons firing off. Like, have you ever seen so many noodles? This is just the noodle aisle, you know? And at the same time, this is just a normal grocery store. And it's just coming to a place as simple as this. I'm just trying to find some yogurt and some luggage, because never come to South Korea without buying luggage, or you will just buy it here, which is probably better, more affordable. This is the first grocery store I've actually been in, because literally you can get everything at the CU market. Wow, they literally have everything. Here's what I would like to have some. Haven't had some green juices in a while. Apple kale. Cleanse juice. Okay. Seems like a lot of calories, no? 621 calories. But little things like this, where you have to, your minds happen to figure things out. Especially here, where everything's just symbols. I'm having to literally like look up the translation of things. It does something to you. I can't explain it. I can't explain it. And in like a controllable way. Yeah, maybe we'll get some hamburger. And it's little stuff like that. Just like that. It just turns like you get to actually see your progression, so to speak, because you'll be in a place like this. It doesn't have to be here in Korea, but you'll get in a place like this, and all of a sudden, you don't know anything. And then a week from now, you come in here and you know exactly where to go, you know exactly what to get. You know, you're walking in, bowing to the people here as they bow back to you, and you're having these little interactions with someone who, for all you know, they don't speak a word of your language. And for me, it's like, that's what it's about. It's changing that geography. And that, it does change everything. How can it not? You go from living in a place where you know what everything is, where everything is, to a place where you don't even understand a single symbol like this. But yet you're able to function. And trust me, at least here in South Korea, you're not gonna go hungry here. All there is food. You might go broke, but you won't go hungry. And at the end of the day, it's hard to accept. It's gonna hurt some people hearing it, but you gotta hear it. The only reason you haven't done it is because you haven't become the person yet who doesn't. One of my mentors, Dr. Myron Golden, says it all the time. It's be, do, have. It says in the Bible. Not in that order, but in the beginning, in the Genesis, like be, do, have. I don't want to go into the whole lecture, but he does a phenomenal job explaining it. But we have to become the person, then we do it. Be fruitful, do multiply, and replenish earth was the first thing he said. The first command for us. So when I think about that, the be, do, have, and I was trying to put those words, because we all hear the same things, but it's how we apply it that makes the difference. And I put it in a way that I love hearing it. Everyone does squats all the time. It's so interesting. So I had to try to think of a way to like apply that, you know, apply what's that mean, the be, do, have. And the easiest way that I can say it for me, and those of y'all who think a little bit similar to how I do, will relate to this, is I want you to think about a kid who's learning to go to the bathroom. They're learning to go to the bathroom. They haven't become the person yet who just goes to the bathroom. They actually have to consciously think about it. You know, when you're going to the restroom, you don't think like, do I go to the bathroom or do I just go in my pants? Like you don't think like that. I mean, maybe some of you do. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But most of us don't think like that. We don't think, well, should I just go in my pants right now in the street, or should I wait till I get back to my room? It's not a conversation you have. Why? Because the doing part just happens because of who we've become. It's who we've become. It's who you become. You become the person who goes to the restroom in the toilet. You become it. And until you become it, the doing part will always be something you think about instead of something that happens because of. The doing part is a result of. Look at it like this. Those of y'all who are out of shape, someone who's out of shape versus someone who's fit isn't because of what they do. It's because of who they've become. Yeah, try that on. Someone who you see out of shape, 40, 50, 60 pounds. Myself, 40 pounds heavier than I should be. Maybe a little bit more. 20 pounds away from what I'm good at, but 40 away from what I'm supposed to be. And it's because I haven't become. It's a becoming thing. It's not a doing thing. Not going to the gym, and that's gonna change it. Going to the gym isn't going to change that, because I'll still fall back on old habits if I haven't become the person yet who just does it, who doesn't eat everything. Become the person. I'm already the person who's aware of what I eat. Now it's can I apply and change to what I'm supposed to be eating. Very rare that you'll hear horns honking here in Seoul. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Wow. You saw all that stuff on this scooter? Wow. But it's a becoming thing, my friends. It's a becoming thing. I hope you guys get that. I hope you really, really get that. Nothing's wrong with you. You're not broken. You just haven't become yet. You haven't become the person who's here. Even if it's 1 week a year. If you work for a year and just have a week off and come over here, it still feeds that part of you that's calling you. That's the reason why you still feel curious about traveling and watching other people who do it. And it's almost like your future isn't predicted on your future isn't predicted on what you do. Sounds crazy, because what you do has got you where you are. What you become sets the path, your trajectory of where you're gonna go. You can be an overweight person, but if you start to see yourself as someone who's fit, things start to change. Maybe not on the grand schedule, on a grand scheme, excuse me. But little by little, I think you'll see. All of a sudden, for example, you want to come and visit here in Seoul. All of a sudden, you start to research flights. You know how much it costs to go out here. When's the best time of year? Then before you know it, you're looking around and you're noticing people who don't look like you, who look like they might be from Asia. You start to notice them, start to be more curious, start to talk to them, start to develop relationships with people from Japan, Korea, places who are where you live at. Little by little, these things start. And it's because of who you become. Before you know it, you're speaking a little bit of languages, you're studying it, and everyone thinks you're crazy because they're like, you're here, what are you doing? You've been working this job for 40 years, why are you trying to learn a whole other language? You barely speak English. But you become the person. It's a becoming thing, my friends. It's a becoming thing. Before I became who I am now, I would instantly go and get a Kit Kat. Because I see that and I want it. I'd go right into the CU store right up there and grab one. But different. Things have changed a little bit. Might get one later, but not impulsively right now. So with that, I hope you all got something from today. And it's a becoming thing. Changing that geography is a great start. And it can hack the system a little bit. It can maybe jumpstart something in you. It's one of the things that I found that has hacked that. But until you become it, you'll always fall back. So with that, from here in Seoul, South Korea, hope you got something from today. And I'll speak to you all in the next video. Become, my friends. Become.